Dear all, I would like to present the basic word agricultural statistics on the basis of data retrieved from OECD and FAO database. My first graph is about the wheat projections covering 2022 and 2032. As can be seen from the graph, yield of wheat is expected to increase from 3.51 in 2022 tons per hectare to 3.8 tons per hectare in 2032. It seems that no significant increase is expected in wheat prices during the next decade. Net trade cereals is expected to increase in developed countries, while is expected to decrease in developing countries, as can be seen from these two graphs. In terms of world maize projections, there will be slightly increase in maize production again here. It is expected a significant increase in yield for maize in the world. In maize, like wheat, the net trade is expected to increase in developed countries, while a significant decrease is expected for developing countries. With respect to other coarse projections, yield is expected to increase from 2.05 tons per hectare to 2.21 tons per hectare in 2032. As you see in this graph, it is expected that there is a decline in net trade until 2023 and a stability until 2025, and then an increase until 2032 for developed countries. On the other side, other curves for developing countries, the net rate will be expected to increase until 2025, and then there is a continuous decrease until 2032. In terms of world rice projections, yield is expected to increase from 3.15 tons per hectare to 3.45 tons per hectare until 2033. Both production and consumption slightly increase. Net rate in rice will decrease in developed countries. There will be slightly increase in developing countries. According to the world meat projections for beef and veal, the production and consumption are expected to increase by 9% until 2032 in the world. In terms of poultry meat projection, it is expected to increase by 15% in poultry meat in the world. With regard to sheep meat, as we can see from this graph, production is expected to increase by 15% like poultry meat. Total support estimate for Turkey reached the highest amount in 2020 and then declined. The percentage of total support estimate to GDP increased from 1.46% in 2013 to 1.51% in 2022. Total support estimate for Japan reached the highest amount in 2020 and then declined as Turkey. The percentage of total support estimate to GDP increased from 1.01% in 2013 to 0.76% in 2022. Total support estimate for New Zealand is higher than Japan and Turkey as seen in this graph, but the total support estimate share in GDP is lower than Japan and Turkey. In 2022, it was 0.19% in New Zealand. Total support estimate for China is expected to increase in the next decade. However, the total support estimate percentage of GDP will fall. With respect to producer support estimate relative to gross farm receipts, in selected countries, Norway seems the one to give the highest producer support in the last decade. It is followed by Japan and European Union. We see the countries such as Turkey, China and United States of America is in the middle. New Zealand is one of the countries to give the lowest producer support in agriculture. As you see in this graph depicting Norway, producer support estimate has steadily decreased in the last decade, but the percentage of gross farm receipt is still higher than many OECD countries. Similarly, Japan is another country to have the highest producer support. After 2020, there has been a decline in percentage of gross farm receipts. For Turkey, producer support estimate is settled in a place in the middle among OECD countries. Producer support estimate relative to gross farm receipts dropped to 13.63%, 23.07% in 2020. As for the United States of America, producer support estimate dropped to 7.21% in 2022. Regarding government expenditure on agriculture, forestry and fishing share in total outlays, Turkey is one of the countries which have the highest share in total outlays. This graph shows share of agricultural credits in total credit. As can be seen, the Netherlands, Argentina and Italy are the countries which have the highest credit rate in agriculture, while Japan and Turkey has no significant credit in agriculture sector. This graph shows agriculture orientation index of public expenditure. Let me explain shortly what is agriculture orientation index. Agriculture orientation index is the ratio between the agriculture share of government expenditure and the agriculture value added as a share of GDP. An agricultural orientation index greater than 1 means that agricultural sector receives a higher share of government spending relative to its economic value. And an agricultural orientation index lower than 1 indicates that the agricultural sector receives a lower share of government spending relative to its economic value. After giving this explanation, this graph gives us an insight about the countries. Japan is one of the countries to have the highest agriculture orientation index of public expenditure, while Turkey, Argentina, Netherlands, Italy are the countries to have the lowest agriculture orientation index. In respect to foreign direct investment inflows to agriculture, forestry and fishing, United States of America is more successful than other selected countries in foreign direct investment inflows as seen in this graph. The last figure I would like to share is related with environment. In this figure we clearly see that the developed countries have the highest amount of pesticide use per hectare. Israel, for example, is one of the countries to use the highest amount of pesticide per hectare, while Turkey is the lowest use of pesticide per hectare. This means that according to the European Green Deal or the Green Deal policies of other developed countries, Turkey is or will be more ready than other countries for the sustainable agricultural practices in the next decade.